So I've just got back from Italy. I've been traveling around for 12 days. I visited Parma, Modena, Milan, Florence, and then down to Rome to visit my family. I was there for work. I knew that I was going to be surrounded by a lot of loud noise, exposed to a lot of loud noise, and then there was nothing I could do about it. So in this video, I want to talk to you about how I dealt with my anxieties leading up to the journey, how I dealt with just being around loud noise in Italy, just general housekeeping tips. And at the end of the video, I'd like to talk to you briefly about anxiety, stress, and how it can affect our tinnitus or not affect our tinnitus. So before I start, I want to let you know that I got a website called helpmytinnitus.com where you can download my free PDF, 5 Tips for Tinnitus. You can also book me for a one-to-one session, or you can check out my interviews and my other YouTube videos. So when I'm leading into journeys or trips that I have to go on, I always keep this equation in my mind. And the equation is this. On the one hand, I have my anxieties. My anxieties want me to stay at home, never go out the front door, stop my dog from barking, keep the TV quiet, have everybody speak quiet, and not be ever exposed to loud noise. That's what my anxieties want me to do. But if I live like that, I live a very restricted life. Now, I have bad tinnitus. I feel like I have to qualify my tinnitus because some people might think, well, you probably got mild tinnitus and it's just a little bit of a thing. I have bad tinnitus. It's been pretty bad the last 8 years. I've had it for 22 years. The last 8 years I would qualify as severe. I don't know how else to qualify it, but it's not a little tinkle in my ear, put it that way. It's something I have to really deal with, especially as a professional musician. So that's my anxieties on the one hand. On the other hand, I have my desire to live. I'm 49, I'm in the thick of things, I'm doing lots of things, I'm involved in lots of projects, I'm a professional musician, I'm writing some of my best music. I have to sort of keep that in mind. So my job is to keep my desire to live a fulfilled life, to live a happy, full, enjoyable life. That desire has to be greater than my anxieties. Now, it's not easy. It's not easy, and I'm not going to try and suggest that it is, because it's not. I have to really work at this. But I've done some therapy in the past, not specifically about tinnitus, but just general therapy. And one of the things that I learned, the biggest lesson is that to deal with your anxieties, you've got to face them full on, face to face. And it's the hardest thing you can do, but that's the only way to really sort of deal with your anxieties, or at least live with your anxieties. So for me, that means exposing myself to situations where I would normally try and avoid, hence traveling, being in loud situations. So my thought process leading into the journey was my desire to live a fulfilled life has to be greater than my anxieties, otherwise I won't ever go out my front door. Okay? So while I was in Italy, here's some tips that I want to share with you about general being exposed to loud noise. Number one, I wore earplugs in all loud situations. Now, you got to be proactive with this. You got to be you got to be on top of this. It meant that I had to have them on me at all times. I had to make sure they were clean. I had to make sure I had 2 pairs, because when you're busy running around, going in and out there, you can forget a pair. So I made sure I had 2 pairs of earplugs, and I wore them in all situations that I felt were loud. Tip number 2, I was open. I always encourage people to be open, or at least consider being open about your tinnitus. I'm a professional musician, and a lot of musicians don't want to talk about this, but by being open, I've actually helped myself greatly, because I can say, hold on a second, I'll be right with you. I got to put my earplugs in because I'm a person with tinnitus. And I found that 99.9% of the time people go, okay, wow, I'm sorry, no problem. And it helps me. So consider being open about your tinnitus and saying, hold on a second, I got to just put my earplugs in. So I was open. And tip number 3 is something that I did. You don't have to do this, but this is just something that I did. I let go a little bit. My desire to live a fulfilled life is greater than my anxieties, because it has to be. And even though my tinnitus is loud, I let go a bit, and I realized that life is sometimes loud. I'm wearing earplugs, so I'm doing the mathematical equation. I'm wearing minus 36. Well, they tell me it's minus 36. I don't really believe it, but they say it's about let's just say it's minus 25 plus. I don't know. So the equation was, this is probably about 85, 90 dB. I got minus 25 earplugs in. I'm probably going to be okay. Remember, it's also not just volume, it's volume over time. So I would also make sure that I wasn't exposed for too long in loud situations. That also meant restaurants. There was a lot of restaurants we were going to. Every night was a restaurant. So it meant that I would wear them going into the restaurant. I would wear them sat at the table. When I was eating, I would take them out slightly so that I don't get that compression. And when I'm not eating, which is most of the time, because you're ordering, talking, drinking, joking around, that sort of thing, I'd put them back in. So the only time I'd take them out slightly was when I was eating, and that's a very small percentage of the time actually that you're in a restaurant. So walking around Rome, I'm wearing earplugs. I was with my dad's wife because I'm very open with them. I've got really bad tinnitus. Everyone's cool and everyone's on the agenda, on the same page, that I've got to wear earplugs, and it's all completely normal. Now, the last thing that I want to talk to you about in this video is the connection between anxiety, stress, spikes, and tinnitus overall. I was exposed to a lot of loud noise that I couldn't avoid for work, being in a business, being in a city, being around people. My family speaks loud. I'd be in a bar and a tray of plates would fall on the floor, which is actually what happened. A car goes past, it beeps, someone shouts on the road. You're just exposed to day-to-day loud noise. Life can sometimes be loud. These situations in my normal day-to-day life would probably cause me a mini spike. I've made a video about this, about mini spikes. I've been getting a lot of mini spikes lately the last 18 to 24 months. A lot of them. These sounds would normally create a mini spike. I didn't have any fluctuation while I was in Italy. Now, I think it's because I was so busy, so distracted, so in the moment, so enjoying my life, not having any time to think about this stuff, and being so tired when I went to bed that I just didn't have time to focus on it. And because I didn't focus on it, I didn't have fluctuations. Now, I'm not promising you anything. I don't know what your tinnitus is like. I don't know anything about you. I don't know how loud your tinnitus is. I only know my situation. My situation is I have loud tinnitus that is very reactionary. I often get mini spikes. I didn't get any mini spikes. Not a one during the 12 days. And I think it's because I was enjoying and fully distracted and in the moment. Take what you will from that. I'm not suggesting you expose yourself to loud noises. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying that I find this interesting, that the more distracted I am, the less I'm getting fluctuations in my tinnitus. Now, it doesn't mean that my tinnitus went away. That's not how it works for me. I don't know how it works for you, but it doesn't work for me. My tinnitus was blaring loud all the time. But the most important thing is that it didn't fluctuate. And that means I could enjoy, I could just do what I want to do, which is have a fulfilled life, regardless of the loud tinnitus. So something for you to think about. When you're invited somewhere, can you bring earplugs? Can you be open with people and say, I need to put what's that in your ear? Well, it's an earplug because I got tinnitus. And most people, like, nobody really cares. Most people go, oh, okay, well, okay. No one cares, actually. Nobody really cares. So can you bring earplugs? Can you wear earplugs? Can you be open? Can you try, so when you hear a loud noise, instead of reacting with the fight or flight mechanism and your shoulders go up, can you just relax and go, that was a very brief loud noise. It's probably not going to affect me. I don't know if it will. I can't promise you nothing, but it's an interesting thought process that the less stressed we are about it, the less we are affected by it. And it's what I always try and encourage people to try and untangle your emotions from the tinnitus. Now, I know you've heard it a million times before. I know you've heard people say, don't stress, try and chill out. I've just experienced this and it really worked for me. So I hope it gives you something to think about. Of course, be protective of your ears. I am very much into protecting my ears. I wear earplugs in loud environments, not all environments, but loud environments. So I'm not encouraging you to be reckless. I'm not encouraging you to not wear your earplugs. I'm just encouraging you to think about that perhaps we can get very tangled up into the stress, anxiety, fight or flight mechanism regarding our tinnitus. And if we can keep a control on that, if we can take control of that, we might be able to also reduce our reactionary type of tinnitus. We might be able to reduce the way our tinnitus reacts to loud noise. Something to think about, all right? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.